I don't think you're sharing the computer sound yet, Brian. All good.
If you see a faded sign at the side of the road that says 15 miles to the
Love Shack, yeah, yeah. I'm heading down the Atlanta highway, looking for the love getaway, headed for the love getaway.
I got me a car, it's as big as a whale, and we're heading on down to the Love Shack. I got me a Chrysler, it seats about 20, so hurry up and bring your jukebox money.
The Love Shack is a little old place where we can get together. Love Shack, baby. Love Shack, baby, Love Shack. Love Shack, baby, Love Shack. Love Shack, baby, Love
That's where
Shack.
it's at.
Love
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Don White's Thursday night concert. Don will be up around 7:05. Come on in. Make yourselves at home. If you have any technical issues, you can feel free to drop me a note on the chat. My name is Brian Dozer, and I'll be here. And we'll see you guys in a few minutes. Hey everyone, come on in and relax. Don will be here shortly. There's links in the chat window in case you'd like to buy anything from Don. And that's it. Make yourselves at home. We're also streaming live on Facebook and YouTube as well, if you know anyone who doesn't have access to Zoom.
Hello, hey, hello everyone. Go like this if you can hear me so I know that I can be heard. There you go. That's nice to see you. New Hampshire, Pennsylvania, Nebraska, looks like Arkansas, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. We got people represented all over the place. So welcome and thank you. Dawn White Thursday night. So thank you to everyone here who's on the Zoom part of this. Over here, I believe, is where all the YouTube people are. Hello, all you YouTube people. And over here, watching cat videos, is where all the Facebook people are. Hello, Facebook people over there. Welcome, everyone. So those of you that are new to this, if maybe there's some new people here, let me sort of just lay the night out for you. In a little while, I'm going to introduce an opening act for us, and then he's going to do a song. I'll play until about 8:20. Then we'll, if those of you that want to hang around, we're going to have an after party. We have a fantastic after party in these shows. It's kind of a song swap. We bring in special guests and people that, it's just a way for us to feel a sense of community, basically. And we all get to talk and hang around. It's kind of like we close the door at the bar after the concert and let the audience hang around there, with us. So because we're on Zoom, those of you that are in Zoom, let me talk to you guys for a minute. We'd like to get as many of you unmuted as is possible, but let's before we do this, hang on one second with this. Before we do this, you all know that in Zoom, any sound that you make is as loud as any other sound. So it's kind of like if you're in a church basement and there were 20 people and the minister was talking and you popped open a 2-pound bag of potato chips, everybody would hear that. It's kind of the same thing here with Zoom. So if you're in a quiet place and you feel like it's going to be quiet for a while, we want you to raise your hands and we're going to unmute you, and that way I can hear some laughter and some conversation and feel like I'm performing for an audience. So the way you raise your hands in Zoom is you go down to the participants thing icon down the bottom. That's the 2 torsos. Oh, jeez. That's the 2 torsos there down the bottom. And when you click on that, the participants icon, that opens up a window where you'll see a blue hand. Now you see, and so your participant window's open and you see a blue hand. If you click on that, that means that you're raising your hands, and what it means to us is that it means that you're telling us that it's probably going to be quiet where you are. So Kevin, Peter, Tommy, Moira. So let's see if we can get a few more in here so that I can get, you know, as many people as possible. And don't worry if you get noisy. Brandon or Brian, who's working the tech tonight, they'll mute you or unmute you. You know, even if you don't take it personal. Just means that maybe a fan kicked on where you were. But this way now, the way it is now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 people that I can play with. So any of the rest of you that are not, that want to join us, go ahead and raise your hands now. You know, that participants icon down the bottom, the one that says 23 next to it, click on that, opens up, and you see the blue hand. Click on the blue hand, and that's how we know that you're good. There you go. There's a couple more. That's great. So what I'm going to do now is the way that we set these things up is that I've always liked to have a person who's local open the show and then join us in the after party. And the reason for that is that I've never forgotten anybody that's been that gave me a chance to open for them or help me out before people knew who I was. And I just feel like it's a good way to showcase people that I know that that I feel like you should be introduced to. So tonight, I'm really delighted to introduce you as our opening act. A good friend of mine. His primary day job is that he's a comedy writer, freelance, and for the Boston Globe. So when him and I get on the phone, we never get any business done because we just start talking about comedy. He's interviewed everybody, George Carlin and all that. But that's his day job. He is a fantastic songwriter and guitar player and an entertainer, and I'm so delighted to share him with you tonight. So those of you that are unmuted, you can applaud for real. The rest of you just move your hands around, and let's welcome my friend Nick Zano.
Yay!
All right.
Thank you, everybody. I couldn't unmute myself. I was just trying. Thanks for having me here, Don. I appreciate it. I'm going to do a song off of my first album. I realize my current lighting setup makes me seem like I have severe eyebrows. I don't really have severe eyebrows. This is called "Live Through You." I've lived through a root canal, I lived through a spinal tap, I lived through a heart attack, and I can live through you. I made it through my summer jobs, I made it through public school, I made it through state school, and I can live through you. Yeah, I may be stumbling, and yeah, I'm a little drunk. Yes, I let my friends fill my head with junk. Yes, I've seen some sorrow, and I've seen some sin, and I've seen my blood enough to wonder what could do me in. I've talked to a Democrat, talked to a Republican. I'll never do that again, but I can live through you. Yeah. small towns, and I've lived the city life. Subtle trauma of suburban strife, and I can live through you. I made it through gym class, I made it through the school dance. Neither gave me half a chance, but I can live through you. Yeah, I may be stumbling, yeah, I'm a little drunk. Yes, I let my friends fill my head with junk. Yes, I've seen some sorrow, and I've seen some sin, and I've seen thy blood enough to wonder what could do me in. I made it through my first kiss, and I've caught some cold fish. I might have a death wish, and I can live through you. I can live through you. I can live through you. I can live through you.
Yeah.
Hey.
Thank you very much. And now, the person you're here for, storyteller, singer, songwriter, Mr. Don White.
Ta-da! Thank you, Nick. That's one of my favorite songs. I thought about covering that song for a while back there. You know, that's a really good one. Thanks for starting out with that. And Nick will be back with us in the after party if you want to hang around. And here we go. I overheard a man complaining how his 401k was not performing quite how he would like it to. As he sipped his double latte and continued to complain, I thought about that day in 1982. We were living in the shack with the outhouse in the back. If I'm not mistaken, you were pregnant too. We thought it might be funny to count all of our money and discuss the investing we could do. We pulled our pockets inside out, pulled the cushions off the couch, stuck our fingers way down deep inside, and then we emptied out the pockets of the jackets in our closet. But not one single penny did we find. And so after the realization our financial situation was not conducive to investment at this time, we decided to invest in what we've always done best. Danced around the kitchen for a while, we do the victory dance. Life is such a mess, we don't know what else to do. We do the victory dance when being penniless became literal to me and you. Well, you can jump off of a building, take a bunch of pills, you can walk around in a trance. But if you wake up in the morning on the right side of the lawn, go on to the victory dance. It's Thursday night, and I'm locked in my house again, that's right. I got fired from a job I had been working at for 20 years faithfully. Oh dear, oh God, oh my, how will I ever survive without a corporation taking care of me? I was so stressed out for weeks, I couldn't eat or sleep, didn't think that things would ever turn my way. Then a couple months went by, I began to realize, man, I really hated working at that place. So I started working for myself, improve my mental health. Now I'm happier than I've ever been before. Oh dear, oh my, oh God, I should have quit that stupid job 19 years ago. I do the victory dance when my life forces me to go out on my own. And then I just declare victory, and I march my army home. There are things you can't control, things you'll never know. Some things are always left to chance. If you're a clerk or you're a farmer, work from home in your pajamas, go on, do the victory dance. Man, there's a lot of people doing that right now. Jump off of a building, take a bunch of pills, you could walk around in a trance. But if you wake up in the morning on the right side of the lawn, if you're a clerk or you're a farmer, work from home in your pajamas. If your health is getting worse, but you can still flirt with the nurse. If the world has gone to hell, and you cannot find Purell, and you're stuck in a tiny house with your children and your spouse, and they canceled all your shows and you've got nowhere to go. Now you're sitting in your room playing concerts on Zoom. What? And you wonder what it means to play songs to a computer screen. And across the top are little squares. And all of your friends are trapped inside of there. And you say to your friends who are trapped in the squares, give me a sign, let me know you're all okay in there. Square number 15 just put up a sign that said, help me. You know, trapped in a square on a computer screen is just a metaphor for quarantine. If you lose your money, but you still got your honey. If you lose your honey, but you still got some money. You find it hard to cope, cause your kids are all on dope. Don't surrender yet, try not to forget. In this game of life we're in. In this game of life we're in. In this game of life that we are in. If you don't die, you win. Ta-da!
Yay!
And the crowd goes wild. The crowd is going totally wild. Square number 17, they're totally off the charts over there. Let me look what else we got. All right, thank you and welcome. Here we go. This is for all the old hippies in the crowd. And you have to know who Ram Dass was. Who knows who Ram Dass was?
Oh yeah.
Oh, look at the old hippies there. Jenny's grandma went to Woodstock back in 1969. She keeps her ticket stub and a chunk of mud at her house in a little shrine. She was always the girl in the hippie dress twirling at the shows by the Grateful Dead. If you ask her about it, man, you better sit down. Grandma will talk the ears right off your head. If you get her talk about the Grateful Dead, Summer of Love, or the Kool-Aid acid test. Jenny was always into glory when she could hear the stories from her grandma's hippie friends about peace and love, taking care of one another, how great it all was back then. And at night she would dream of being on the bus with Keezy, seeing Jimmy in 69. But when she wasn't dreaming, she always had the feeling that somehow she'd been born in the wrong time. You know, you should have been 20 in 1969. All the gray-haired hippies say that all the time. But the cool grandchildren of the cool young women who danced in the Woodstock mud are sleeping on the beach in Montezuma, Costa Rica, having all kinds of fun, singing, there's only 1 minute if you're not living in it, it's never coming back again. I love you, Grandma, but Bob or Ram Dass never said, be there then. It's gonna take a big leap of faith if you really wanna find your tribe. Those were the first words Jenny heard in a song that she found online. And that summer she drove all the way to Minnesota to the Shangri-La Festival. And there they all were, all the people like her, who grew up believing that they were all alone. They said, hey girl, welcome home. Cause the cool grandchildren of the cool young women who danced in the Woodstock mud are driving down the road all the way to Minnesota, having all kinds of fun, singing Jimmy and Jerry are dead and buried and they're never coming back again. I love you, Grandma, but Bob or Ram Dass never said, be there then. Jenny's grandma went to Woodstock in 1969. And since then she believed there was never gonna be a better time, and that's alright. But if you don't take your big leap of faith and get out there and find your scene, it will pass you by while you are trying to find your grandma's long gone Woodstock memories. Woodstock memories. While the cool grandchildren of the cool young women who danced in the Woodstock mud are living on the beach in Montezuma, Costa Rica, having lots of fun. And there's only 1 minute if you're not living in it, it's never coming back again. Love your grandma, but Barbara Ramdas never said, never said. Never said, never said. Never said be there then. There you go. All right. So I'm going to tell you a story here tonight. Tell a couple probably. But before we get going, I just want anybody who just came in, we'd like to get you unmuted. If you feel like you're in a quiet place, so raise your hand. If you feel like you're in a quiet place, you do that by clicking on the participants window. When you open that up, you see the blue hand. When you click on the blue hand, that means you're raising your hand. It means that you feel like you're in a place where we can safely unmute you and hear you hopefully laugh and applaud and maybe holler at me or whatever it is that you want to do. We do have power. We can unmute you anytime you want. All right, so I am in a room right now here. This used to be my daughter's bedroom here. So let me tell you this story. I used to tell this story every show, but I haven't for a while, but people have been asking me for it. So I worked it up again. I went, I watched a video of me telling this story so I could remember how to tell it. That's right. Okay, so when we bought our house, this very house in Lynn, Massachusetts, there was no door on my daughter's bedroom. There was no door right there. This was her bedroom. So we bought her what I call an accordion door. That's right. And if you in the little squares don't know what an accordion door is, this is your lucky day. I'm going to describe it to you. An accordion door has an aluminum runner running across the top with little squeaky wheels that run across the aluminum runner, and it folds up like an accordion, like that. It doesn't open and close. It folds like an accordion and unfolds like an accordion. And over here on the side in the middle, it has a kind of a combination door handle magnet thing. And then I suppose if your dad is more mechanically inclined than my daughter's dad is, it could have an aluminum runner on the bottom too. But hers just kind of flaps down there. I told her I designed it that way so the cat could come in and out. I was lying about that. I just couldn't figure out how to build it. That's right. And that's the kind of door she had on her bedroom when she was a child and all through her life until she moved out. And when she was a teenager, in her mind, it was this close to child abuse. The fact that her parents removed from her her God-given, constitutionally guaranteed right and privilege to be able to slam her bedroom door after she was done screaming at her parents. I can see that you're not all with me on this. Allow me to elaborate. All right? When my daughter was 17 and a half, I'm telling you, man, this house was like a volcano. Her and her mother would fight like two animals. I would know it was them, and I know they'd be speaking English, but to me, it sounded like someone had turned up the Nature Channel loud on my television. Oh, every night I'd be hearing this sound. And then they would stop. It would stop abruptly, and they would go to separate ends of the house, leaving me and the dog cowering in what I like to refer to as the angry estro silence. And then they would each come to me separately to complain about the other one. That's right. First, my daughter would come and she would complain to me. This is what her lips look like when they're moving. Right? She would complain to me like this and complain, and I would focus and try to pay attention, but I couldn't understand what she was saying because I have an attention deficit problem, especially when I hate what somebody is saying to me. Right? So she'd be complaining to me, and the underlying message, even though I couldn't hear it, I knew this was a familiar scene here in my house. The underlying message was that if only 18 years earlier, when I had been courting this woman, if I could have projected into the future 18 years and seen that obviously that 18 years later from me marrying this woman, this person's mother, that 18 years later, this woman I had the tremendous lack of vision to marry would be spending every one of her waking moments denying liberty to her children. If only I could have seen that from my daughter's perspective early on in the process, certainly from her perspective, I would have chosen more carefully. And she would want me to get justice for her. Let's think about that for a minute. Like, my daughter is normally a very observant young person, but the fact that she believed that I was capable of getting justice for her from her mother, I mean, that betrayed a fundamental misunderstanding about the way that things work in this very room that you are seeing behind me, in this very home right here. Because the truth, which I had not the heart to tell her, was if I could get justice from that woman, I would get some for myself. I didn't have the heart to tell her that, so I took my cue from the dog, who always looks at me with kind of an empathetic look, even though he can't understand what I'm saying. And I would say to my daughter, I'm sorry. I know you're upset with me. I'm sure that the problem that you have, that I am the source of it, but I I hope it works out for you. I don't know. What am I going to do? And eventually she would realize I was useless, which is something she realized early and often in her teenage years, that her father was of no use to her in acquiring any liberty at all in this world. Totally incompetent in that scenario. And she would leave, and then my wife would come, and it would sound like what the Charlie Brown teachers talk like, right? You know, blah, 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 blah. Then I would hear like a word come out, your daughter, blah, blah, blah. Right? And so, in my stories are generally, this is the way they work. Normally, there's a little seedling of truth in them, and then I water that seedling, and I grow that seed of truth into a gigantic rainforest of exaggeration. Right? So you have to dig through the leaves and the trees of my exaggeration to find the kernel of truth in most of these stories. But this next thing that I'm going to say to you, square 15, 16, 17, and 18, I'm going to say to all of you, this next thing I'm going to say to you is true right down to the molecules of it, right to the nucleus of it. And all my dads out there, and I can see you. You can't hide from me. Look at all the dads in the crowd tonight. Look how weary they are. Like they're just kind of beat up by the world. There they all are. So this next thing I'm going to say is for you dads. And you are going to want to laugh so hard. But I'm here to tell you, as your friend, that you should not laugh at this next thing. Normally I would say it's probably going to be a long ride home for you, but you can't even get in the car and drive away. You're stuck there, okay? Like so be careful. Don't laugh at this thing, even though, dads, it's really funny. Okay, so here's my one absolute truth from this show. If I have my daughter on one side and my wife on the other side, and they're both complaining to me at the same time, I swear to God, if I close my eyes, I can't tell which one is talking! It has occurred to me that the problem these people have with each other has something to do with the fact that they're identical. But that's just a theory. Now, let's get back to the story. My daughter and my wife, nose to nose, fighting each other. My daughter, 17, not going to be pushed around, not going to be told when to come home, not going to be told anything. She's just going to be asserting her authority in her mind. And she's screaming. They're screaming like each other like this. Like, I'm 17 years old and you can't tell me what to do. I'll come home at 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock and do whatever I want. And pretty soon I'll be 18. I'll be able to do whatever I want. And she would go upstairs, wap, 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 and come in this very room that I'm sitting in right here and stand right there. beside her little accordion door. And she would scream at us from upstairs, and this is the sound that we would hear coming down the hallway. And when I turn 18, I am moving out of this house! And then we would hear, weeky, 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 click! And my wife and I would be laughing so hard. We'd be downstairs. Oh, you're gonna leave home when you're 18. Weeky, weeky, weeky. Click. No door slam. All right. That's the end of my story. Now, I'm gonna play this song for you, which I sang at my daughter's wedding. My daughter, you know, I'm having these milestones these next couple of years, like these last few years. So this is a song that I sang at her wedding, which was in Costa Rica. She flew us, made us all go to Costa Rica so she could filter out the people she didn't want to come. She goes, what can I do to make sure that only the people I want will come to my wedding? I know, I'll have it in another country where you have to have a passport to get there. That'll eliminate most of my friends. All right, so here we go. This is called Little Bird. A little bird perched on a mountainside, the little wings wondering if they can fly. A pretty little song singing questions to the breeze. Can these little wings really bring me to my dreams? The wind is there to dance upon, the rain keeps the rhythm in the dreamer's song. And when you ask me why the sky is blue, I'll tell you blue is the color of the boundless dreams of little birds who sing like you. She knows you love her, she knows you're right, that there really is danger in the wind at night. And she sees how you worry every single time she leaves. But in her dreams at night, it's only blue sky that she sees. The wind is there to dance upon, the rain keeps the rhythm in the dreamer's song. And when you ask me why the sky is blue, I'll tell you blue is the color of the boundless dreams of little birds who sing like you. Now you stand behind her on the mountainside. When she looks back, you see the whole world in her eyes. When the wind lifts her skyward, her song is on the breeze, singing, can these little wings really bring me to my dreams? The wind is there to dance upon, the rain keeps the rhythm in the dreamer's song. And when you ask me why the sky is blue, I'll tell you blue, that's the color of the boundless dreams of little birds who sing like you, of little birds who sing like you. There you go. Thank you. Sarah, did I hear you out there? Somebody unmute Sarah. Is that Sarah out there? All right. There she is. All right, so, here, this one's for my wife. We've been married 42 years. You believe that? Wow, that's a long time, isn't it? Before that, we hitchhiked for 3 years. We hitchhiked for 3 years before that too. So so I can say the following sentence: I am married 42 years to my girlfriend that I hitchhiked for 3 years around the country with in the 70s. I have to be the only person on earth that can speak that sentence, I believe, accurately. So I'm going to play 2 songs for her. The first one is called Sassy Brat, which is the reason why we stayed married, is because she's a punk and a wise guy and is always making me laugh by letting me know that she's smarter and tougher than me. So here we go. In the 18, 20, 30, 42 years that we have been wed, I wondered if you ever heard a word I said. Until I said, pass that remote control over here, and you told me to blow it out my ear. I love you, you're a sassy brat. You make me mad and you make me laugh. God, please don't cut our time in half. Let me grow old with my sassy brat. When my fans call up and say that I'm great, you tell them that that is a huge mistake. That if they had to live with me, they would understand what a big pain in the ass I am. I love you, you sassy brat. You make me mad, you make me laugh. God, please don't cut our time in half. Let me grow old with my sassy brat. There are men that like women who they can dominate, that bring them breakfast in bed and always tell them that they're great. Well, my sassy lady never does that for me, but at least a life with her is definitely not boring. She says if you want me to believe that you're great, do a couple loads of laundry around here someday. Hey pal, it's only because you're still kinda cute that I haven't already gotten rid of you. That's right, I love you, you sassy brat. You make me mad, you make me laugh. God, please don't cut our time in half. Let me grow old with my sassy brat. You say the kids have both gone to the show. How about a little quickie before they come home? And I say, I suppose you think you're really slick, the way that you keep emphasizing little and quick. Don't laugh at that, it's not that funny. I'm not that sure I love you, you're a sassy brat. You hurt my big fat ego and you make me mad. Please don't cut our time in half. Let me grow old with my sassy brat. Sassy bratty lady has been hanging around here, driving me crazy. 42 years, if I could ever afford to see a psychiatrist, I'd ask him why the hell do I like being treated like this. We were in bed but we were still awake. You said I really love you in this life we've made. I said, hey, can I quote you on what you just said? You told me if I did you'd punch me in the head. I love you, you sassy brat. You make me mad, you make me laugh. God, please don't cut our time in half. Let me grow old with my sassy brat. I hope it's not too much to ask. Let me grow old with my sassy brat. There you go. Thank you. Alright, so I was chatting with a woman earlier who comes to the shows a lot. Her name is Kate, and she picked up one of my albums last week, which, by the way, thank you for those of you who buy music still. You know, you are more beautiful than the rest of the people in this world. There's something about you that is just spectacularly beautiful, and I think it has to do with the fact that you buy music, but I'm not sure about that. Anyway, she asked me if I'd play something off of this album, so I'm going to play this for my wife Teresa here. I left here, if I can remember it now. I left here at 7. It's 11:30. I am dragging myself up the stairs. It's 16-hour days have a definite way of making me want to pull out my hair. Tomorrow is ringing my doorbell and it's singing, I am right down here waiting on you. I am weary as hell, I know only too well. There's not a whole lot I can do. And Terry is sleeping alone with the TV on. I am on the edge of the bed, and some guy on my TV is talking right to me. I don't hear a word that he says, 'cause my mind is working against me, pointing all of my faults out to me. But hey, me and all my imperfections are tired. We just need to get us some sleep. I just need to lay me down beside my sleeping lady, and the only sound will be of gentle breathing during the hours we sleep. She is breathing a new life into me, and when the morning erases the night, I will have what it takes to get back in the fight. If her breath is heavy or light or unsteady when I lie beside her this way, my body naturally knows that it has to be breathing the very same way. Please don't ask me about being married. Oh, how could I ever explain to someone what it means to a man to lie by his companion, with their two bodies breathing as one? I just need to lay me down beside my sleeping lady, and the only sound will be of gentle breathing during the hours we sleep. She is breathing a new life into me, and when the morning erases the night, I will have what it takes to get back in the fight. When the morning erases the night, I will have what it takes to get back in the fight. Thank you. All right, so let's see, what do we got here? All right, so I wrote a book a few years back, and I swore I'd never do it again. I promised myself. I swore. It was so hard. I didn't realize how hard it was. I was too stupid to know how hard it was. I really didn't. But I swore I'd never do it again. But I am doing it again now because I need the money. That's the reason. Nothing to do with creativity. Nothing to do with anything else. I just need the money. Music, music is free pretty much unless you're over a certain age. But people will still buy books. So I'm going to read this piece to you that's from my book that I'm working on now. If I make sure I have all of it here. Yeah. So let me talk to you about what it was like to be me. Okay. So I grew up in a factory town full of tough people, right? Like tough people that never didn't go to college, and that it was not that easy for me because I don't know what, like I like to read. I like words and literature. I used to skip school and read. Do you believe that? Like, how weird is that? I skip school, go to Lynn Woods, and sit by myself and read books. And then I developed a vocabulary, and it was a liability. If I used the words that I learned in my books that I was reading with my friends, they would punch me. They would punch me and ostracize me from their community. My vocabulary was a liability. So, if I can figure this out, if I have all the parts here, I'm going to read this thing to you. It's called Breaking Up. It's a thing in two parts, and first part is called Breaking Up with My Muse. Muse being not like a person, but inspiration, right? The thing that makes you want to write songs and do all that, right? But I have all this paper here, but I'm not sure that I have everything that I need. We'll see. I'll have to just make it up if I don't. Breaking Up with My Muse right here. I'm not sure. I'm trying to get this show ready for Vegas, and it's not working that way.
What's the book called?
Well, the first one was called Memoirs of a C Student, and that here's a copy of it right here. It's Memoirs of a C Student. This book has been good for me. I think it's on its 11th printing or something. I mean, I didn't make 1,000,000 of them every printing, but 1,000 each time. So here it is, Memoirs of a C Student. The cover of it is a desk. It was the desk that I used to sit at, with the inkwell there and all that. That's how old I am. I'm old enough to have gone to school in desks that had inkwells on them, right? But anyway, there you go.
Do you have a name for the second book?
I'm thinking about calling it. I probably won't call it this, but I've had a lot of fun with this. Stories I couldn't tell till my parents died. How's that sound?
Sounds like a good place.
I just really didn't want them to be able to know some of these stories. All right. I'm thinking that I probably don't have it all here, but let's wing it. All right, so part one is called Breaking Up with My Muse. I think we need to see other people. Don't look at me like that. You know this has been coming for a long time. I always thought that this was a partnership, but it has never been that. It's always been about you, what you want, what you need, and what I can do to turn your wants and needs into something real. How many countless, irretrievable. This is for all the writers out there, all the songwriters and all the writers who are possessed by this stupid business or have to write, How many countless, irretrievable hours, days, and weeks have I spent sequestered in a tiny room, torturing myself over what exact words to use on some poem, song, or story idea that you swore to me was brilliant, only to find out later that it was stupid and not worth 1 minute of time. And where did the time I used to polish these turds come from? Oh, I don't know. Maybe from learning a trade. Without a lifetime of constant distractions, I could have been a plumber. I could have been making $50 an hour and be nearing retirement with a full pension. And let's not forget the alienation. You made me skip school at 15 years old and sit in Lynn Woods reading Sid Arthur. Why? You knew I had to live in this town with the sons and daughters of football-loving proletarians for whom the suspicion that I might possess even a modest vocabulary was all the justification needed to kick my artsy ass. And let's not forget the alienation. Do you remember that job I had in Maine with that crew of the newly unincarcerated that summer? Yeah. How about the suffering that they put me through? Hey, when they found out that I was a poet or that I liked poetry. Hey, Shakespeare, look at that girl over there. Why don't you write us a nice little song about her? Write us a poem about her behind, you know? Ha 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 ha. You know, but I'm breaking up with you. I never want to speak to you again. I'm sick of this. I've been tortured by what you've made me, and I'm just done with you. That's part one. Now, part two is called Apologizing to My Muse. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I didn't mean any of those things I said. I wish I had been on Ambien. Then I could say that it was a bad reaction. But it appears that I do not need the support of pharmaceuticals to behave ungraciously. So I have no choice but to own it. I'll understand if you never speak to me again, but just hear me out. The alienation that you filled my formative years with forced me to become an astute observer. Initially, it was a survival skill that helped me to predict and elude violence that might be coming my way. But later, that attentiveness helped me to become a writer who could occasionally write work that resonated. I suppose I could go on about our accomplishments, our creative accomplishments, and the fulfilling and interesting life that we have created. But all I've been able to think about today is the word home. When I was a boy and my dad was whiskey drunk, I would be awakened from the sweet dreams of youth by angry voices. And there, in the vulnerable, half-conscious twilight between dream and day, as I was free-falling toward the awakened world, and before I could don the armor my mind had created to shield my unhardened heart, I knew the terror of a rabbit being carried to the fox den. And at the moment before I transitioned to the physical world, I would feel that you, my inner voice, my trusted consigliere, my hiding place, my brilliant and tenacious enemy of conventional wisdom, were there beside me. And through the comfort of knowing that you had watched over me as I slept, I would hear your voice whisper into my undefended dusk one single word: home. On the walk to school those mornings, we would write songs and stories, and I belonged, not at the house I slept in, not at the school I attended, not with the children that I played with, but with you. Because of you, home has been with me for every mile of my life's journey. Thank you for the survival skills. Thank you for the unique way of seeing the world. Thank you for the ability to describe my world in a way that resonates. And thank you for a home that knows no walls and from which I hopefully will never be evicted. Ta-da.
Good.
All right. So I'm gonna sing one song now, and then we'll take a 3-minute break. It's just a 3-minute break. We'll just sort of pass the hat. This is a free concert. You don't have to pay to be here, but if you're in a position where you could throw a few bucks my way, I could give it to my wife, and we could have groceries next week. That would be awesome. That would be truly an awesome thing. But if you are out of work, a lot of people are, you're welcome here. I love you, and I've been out of work and out of money a good hunk of my life, so you're always welcome. So let me sing this song. We'll take a short break. I'll go splash some water on my face, and then I'll come back and play to about 8:20. And then if you want to hang around, we have some really fun musicians to hang out with us, and Nick Zano will be with us again as well. He's a fun and interesting musician as well, but you've already met him. We have some surprise ones that are going to come there, and that'll be starting around 8:20. There is a little girl with pretty curls. She's about 5 years old, and she's waiting at the gate for her dad to come home. When he pulls around the corner in his shiny white car, she feels the magic light up in her heart. And he picks her up and he holds her. He says he missed her. He's glad that she is here. tear as the child lays her head on his shoulder. She whispers these words in his ear. Daddy, I know exactly what love is. Love is real simple and true. Love is this feeling my heart gets when I'm being held close by you. Now she is 20 and there's plenty of love everywhere. She's getting married, so her family and her friends are all there. They've gathered this morning to stand at her side as she waves goodbye to this time in her life. And they each take a moment to hold her and to tell her what she means to them in a world that seems to keep getting colder. She has been blessed with a warm family and friends. She says, I know exactly what love is. Love is real simple and true. Love is this feeling my heart gets when I'm being held close by you. Now they are older and no one told her it got crazy like this. They're going to night school, they're working jobs too, they're raising 3 kids. The youngest one is crying with a bruise on her knee. She needs attention and she needs sympathy. And when she picks her up and she holds her, that old magic lights up in her heart. And as the child lays her head on her shoulder, she knows exactly why they're working so hard. Little girl, I know exactly what love is. Love is real simple and true. Love is this feeling my heart gets when I'm being held close by you. Now they are 60 and their history spans 40 odd years. They have buried their parents, now their grandkids are here. There's something about the way they look in each other's eyes that speaks softly about the meaning of a life. And when he puts his arm out to hold her, it feels so familiar and warm. She thinks love is an expanding endeavor till your last breath from the moment you're born. Now she is 80 and she hates being in this nursing home. Her man's been gone now for a long while, and she feels so alone. She closes her eyes and she begins to pray that a little comfort might just come her way. And God lifts her up and he holds her, and she remembers this feeling she has. She is not a woman whose life is almost over. She's a little girl being held by her dad. And God, I know exactly what love is. Love is real simple and true. Love is this feeling my heart gets when I'm being held close by you. And God love is real simple. Love is real simple. Love is real simple and true. There you go. Thank you. All right. I thought you said this guy was funny. What the hell was that? That was the worst comedy piece I've ever heard in my life.
Made a tear happen. Come on, man. Well.
Got some tears happening here. How was the comedy show you went to online? It was the worst comedy show I've ever seen in my whole life. All right, so here, 3 minutes. You guys relax. Take it easy. Get a drink. Whatever it is that you like to do. I'll be back. We'll put the information up. You can, if you're in a position where you can throw a few bucks my way, that would be great. You can mail it in the post office. Remember people used to do that, or you can use Venmo or PayPal. And I'll be back in just a few minutes. And thank you so much for coming. If you have something you want to hear, put it in the chat, and I'll try to do it for you in the next 20 minutes or so. Thanks. All right, here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Look at you all. Nice to see you. I want to thank all the people who come regularly. It means a lot to me, and that you let other people know about it. So I want to just shout out a little. Hello, Neil. Hi, Kara. To the Kevin Ilson, Tommy Hansen, and his wife. Everybody, Jason Smith from out there, Kate, CC, I see that you're here. Tim, all the way from New Mexico. Linda Roja, hello, hi, nice to see you. Steven, everybody, so thank you. You know, this is, you know, we're doing what we can. Hi, Patricia Evans, hi, nice to see you. All right, so, and that's Damien. Is that really Damien? Like, unmute yourself right now. I just gotta talk to this guy right now. This is one of my. We used to run. I've been running this thing, this poetry thing.
Yeah, hey.
This is one of my first poet that I unleashed onto the world, Damien.
Oh, you inspired the hell out of me.
And are you doing okay, buddy?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Just
Yeah.
you know, struggle's real, but I live in Vermont in a beautiful house and some land, and you know, I'm just starting a mushroom business and doing the glass blowing stuff.
You know, you're my favorite success story. I just love you. I just love you, love you,
I
love
love
you.
you,
And I'm so glad to see you doing okay. And thanks for checking in. You know.
This is Sarah.
Hi, Sarah. How you doing? Welcome. So Vermont is represented here. All right. I'm so happy. Let me play this. So I started this open mic years ago. Damien was there at the very beginning, probably 12 years ago, and it was just kind of designed to reach people that wouldn't come to an open mic normally. I think, you know, just kind of off the grid people, and it just put me in touch with so many interesting young people. And one of the things that we did that made it really successful was that we just allowed them to say whatever they wanted. That was the secret weapon. The reason why you can't get the really creative kids, or the kids that are, you know, all the kids were homeless and, you know, had real issues. They wouldn't come into a church or something because everyone was trying to tell them what they couldn't say. You know, so I just taught all the old people, my people, to shut up and just let them talk. Just let them talk, right, Damien? Just like,
Oh yeah.
let them say what they want. And you know, sometimes it's a little hard to listen to them. They'll do their best to horrify you. But once we taught the older folks to just let them go, then all of a sudden they all found their voices, and they had a place where they could find each other. And it's called Speak Up. It's been running now in one incarnation or another for 12 years, and there's a lot of people like Damien, I think, who would say that they found their voice there. And
Yeah.
I'm real proud of it, and I'm so glad to see you that you're doing good, man. And I'm gonna play this for you. This is for everybody. This means just go find your voice, right? Find your creative outlet. It's a hard, dark, cold world with everybody in their cars in a million-mile traffic jam trying to get to their job. You there with your bright light hiding in your little room with your guitar and your pencil writing your secret tune. Go light, go light, go light the world on fire. This is your day, it's your time. Go light the world on fire. In the first part, if you learn what you love to do. In the middle part, if you do it a lot till it becomes a part of you. In the last part, you give the world the best work of your life. And then you lay down with a big smile, tell this whole world good night. Go light, go light, go light the world on fire. This is your day, it's your time. Go light the world on fire. It's a hard, dark, cold world with everybody in their cars in a million-mile traffic jam trying to get to their jobs. We need you to come on down from your little room bright light to the dark night. Play us your secret tune. Go light, go light, go light the world on fire. This is your day, it's your time. Go light the world on fire. Go light, go light, go light the world on fire. This is your day, it's your time. Go light the world on fire. Go light the world on fire. Go on and light the world on fire. There you go, Damien. All right.
Thank you, brother.
All right.
So good to hear you.
I'm muting you now.
Oh, that made me think of something. I'm digging through my papers here. Oh, I got it right here at the top. I'm just going to read this. Here, Damien, you're making me go off script tonight, making me think of stuff. So this is a poem that I wrote. It's very short. I wrote it for the kids that would come to speak up. They would come. It was such a fascinating thing. And I've actually gone around and taught people how to do this, how to reach the unreachables, kind of. And so what would happen is they would come in, hear about it. These young kids, some of them are, they got hard lives, right? Their parents or have drug problems or whatever. There's a lot of stories like that in this town. And they would come in and they'd come like this. This is Don White going totally off script now. Here, this is when it starts to get good when I do this. Right? Damien, am I wrong? They would come in like this and look through the chair, like that. They'd come in and sit in a chair and just like this. Just look through when nobody could see them, and they just look, what is this thing I've heard about this place? And then they'd realize someone would get up and just curse the whole 5 minutes, just say everything that they could think of to horrify old people, and all the old people were trained to go, that was beautiful, thank you for cursing for the 10 minutes, we love you, right? And then
There were some real crazy moments, yeah.
right, and then what would happen is they would come again and read something. And maybe for the first time in their life, a paper shaking in their hand. They talk about how they were abused or neglected or something, and they find their voice for the first time in their life. It would kill me every time. It probably happened 80 times in the time I was there, where somebody for the first time that nobody ever wanted to know what they had to say. Nobody ever encouraged them. And now they found this place with Damien and all his friends, and they would just say how they felt about the world. And that voice was born then. And then they would find each other. So I wrote this, and we'll move on to something else here, but I'm really glad to see you, Damien. So here, and this is called The Girl in the Corner. We saw you when you slipped in here soaking wet and tried to hide in the corner as if your life was not raining on you. We loved you before you knew we could see you. This place, after all, was built for all of you, wet and wounded, bullied and broken, ignored and targeted, alone in the worlders, who live in the shadows out there on the edge of belonging. We loved you by leaving you alone and letting you decipher us with those highly developed, piercing refugees' eyes, the ones that can spot a lie, a truth, a weakness, a strength from 30 paces. When you asked yourself, what is this place? We answered without speaking, this is your place. When you asked yourself, who are these people? We answered without speaking, welcome home. Into the cement that we used to build this community, we poured the knowledge that all human beings need to belong and to contribute. You contributed at the moment you found your voice and used it to show us the world behind your eyes. We love you. You deserve it. What kind of show is this?
Seeing you and recently I shared some poetry with someone, and I started feeling like, oh man, I'd love to make something where I'm at too. I'd like to talk to you about it sometime.
I would be happy to help you. It's a template, right? All right. Okay, so here we go. One more tune. So thank you for coming, everybody. We're gonna have some really, I've invited some friends that to hang around with us after and do a little song swap. So you're welcome to hang around. But if you have a long ride home, where are you going? You're going from the kitchen to the living room. You're not going anywhere. But if you have a long ride home and you need to get a head start on it, go ahead. But if you want to hang around with us, the after party is really fun. It's really a way for us to to fabricate community. That's what we lost in this COVID thing, especially musicians. We lost community. We would hang around after the shows and play music and talk about the road and all that. And so the after party now is designed for us to do that, to share songs, to talk a little bit, and you're all welcome to it. So I'm going to end this part of the show with a song called Angel in Pieces. It's a song about believing in people when they're not well enough to believe in themselves. And I know that you're doing that out there, all of you. I know a lot of people here tonight, and I know that you're doing that you're making the world a better place. And so on behalf of humanity, for whom I am the official spokesperson, I want to thank you for all the kindnesses that you're doing out there in these times when kindness goes a long way, a little bit of kindness. So I'll play this song. We'll take another 2-minute break, and then if you can donate, that's great. If not, hang around if you want to, and we're going to have a little song swap, and I'll introduce you to some folks that perhaps you haven't met before, but I'm sure you're going to be happy that you met them. All right, here we go. She walked into the room like she was walking off a cliff. In my mind I said, what kind of shattered angel is this? Her walk said, I've surrendered. In her face, I've had enough. Her eyes were holes, they were dark and cold. They said, I've given up. I saw an angel in pieces, as if the pieces all fell from the sky. I said in my heart, I believe this sad angel someday will fly. You know, life rains down so hard upon some people that we know. It tears their faith and their hope away, and they walk around like ghosts, and we see them as they are breaking. And as their spirit dies, but deep inside we still believe they will come alive and fly. I saw an angel in pieces, as if the pieces all fell from the sky. I said in my heart, I believe this sad angel someday will fly. Now she walks across the room like she could walk across the sky. And those old dark eyes, they are so alive. They set the room on fire. This is no shattered angel. I say to myself, I feel Zuzu's petals. I hear one small bell. I saw an angel in pieces, as if the pieces all fell from the sky. I said in my heart, I believe this sad angel someday will fly. I saw an angel in pieces, as if the pieces all fell from the sky. I said in my heart, I believe this sad angel someday will fly. Look how beautiful you are. Thank you for another excellent Thursday night.
You done.
All right, so that ends my part of this program here. Brian and Brandon, who are doing the tech, will you let the folks know over there on YouTube and Facebook that if they want to come and hang out with us in the more interactive part, that you can let them know how to do that. And I'll be back in 3 minutes. If you can throw a few bucks in the hat, that's great. If not, I love you. Don't worry about it. And we'll be back and have a song circle and some community. We will build community in just a little bit. All right.
Thank you, buddy.
Brian, can you put the Venmo and stuff up for me, please?
Will do.
That. Cool.
False rates of CDs and books.
Ba, 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 ba. All right, I'm back. All right, so let's see. We have a good group of folks that stayed with us. You know, that I'm glad that you're here. All right, so I'm going to start the song swap by bringing back Nick Zano, who started the show off many minutes ago at 7 o'clock. Again, a good friend of mine that I want you all to know. And then I have two other guests that are going to join me in the song swap. They're going to be representing the state of Arkansas and the state of Oklahoma. Here's a little teaser for you. But let's start with Nick Zano. He's representing Lynn, Massachusetts, so which is just as glamorous as all the rest of those places. So please welcome him back to the virtual stage.
Yeah.
All right. It sounds like you're introducing for a prize fight there, representing Lynn, Massachusetts.
My money's on the guy from Lynn if it's going to be a fight, I guess.
Well, I don't know. Technically, I live in Lynn, but I'm technically from Syracuse. I don't know how that works into into the odds, but I'm sure there's a Vegas line on it somewhere because there's a Vegas line on everything. This one's from an album I just released in November. It's what passes for romance for me. This is called Better When You're Strange. I like you better when you're strange. Your eyes flash and colors change. It feels like when you're with me, you're someone no one else will see. I like you better when you're strange. You give me something I can taste. But when you hang around with those boys, your charms go to waste. I don't just want you for the things they do, but hell, I want you for those things too. I just want to help you to fit into a shape that feels like you. You like Picasso and old man bars. I like my comic books and cheap guitars. Nothing about you that's too bizarre to ever keep us apart. I like you better when you're strange, when you're busting down the gates, when you're marching on their front lawn in your suspenders and a cape. Don't keep me waiting. Come out and play. Ooh. I like you better when you're strange, when you're something short of sane. Whatever's twirling in your brain, it makes me want to know your name. I don't just want you for the things they do, unless you want me for those things too. I could love every part of you and never have to stop and think it through. You like turtle wax and shaving scars. I like my jelly from a mason jar. There's nothing about you that's too bizarre to ever keep us apart. I like you better when you're strange. Your eyes flash and the colors change. It feels like when you're with me, you're someone no one else will see.
Yay! That was excellent, Nick. Thank you.
Thanks.
Will you hang around if we go around one more time, do another tune, we can chat a little bit?
Sure.
All right. Well, thank you, Nick Zano. So now I'm going to introduce our first sort of secret squirrel for tonight. He's been hanging around all night. He made me very nervous. I hate when the people that are really good watch my whole show.
All right.
I was going to phone this
Jack,
one in. I had
Williams.
to do a good job. So this is a gentleman that I've known, and he's been, according to his website, which I have to believe, has been performing for over 60 years. He's a guitar player, a songwriter, just a, you mention his name in my circles, and people speak in reverent whispers. He's a great guy, and we are so delighted to have him here, all the way from the state of Arkansas. Please welcome Jack Williams.
Woo!
My
Unmute
voice?
yourself.
Gotta unmute yourself. There you go.
There.
There you
Uh,
Tried to get him to unmute me a while ago, but I think he was holding me back. Hi, Don. Thanks for having me here.
Good to have you, Jack. Good to see you. Thanks for doing this. I appreciate you.
Sure. Well, I'll play a song that I wrote for one of my heroes. I'm a South Carolinian originally, and a lot of my music is rooted in the Deep South. And one of my heroes is from Greenville, South Carolina. He was a man who broke every color barrier there was in the New York City scene. He and Billie Holiday. And Greenville, South Carolina is not a place where you would expect for the mayor to declare Josh White Day on August 20th a couple years ago. But we were so happy and proud that he did. Josh White was a natural man. Held a plug nickel in the palm of his hand. He raised it up like a glass to his eye. What he saw through the nickel made the natural man cry. Lord, 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 this morning made a natural man cry. Then through the nickel a vision arose. He saw an actor in the jungle with a bone in his nose. He saw a maid in an apron with a Hollywood grin. Heard a singer at the back door slamming again. Lord, 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 heard the back door slamming again. High upon a mountain sat the Lord and the natural man. Oh, Josh White got the gift of song, but he never saw the promised land. He never saw the promised land. So Josh White laid nickel down. He put his hands in his pockets and he strolled into town. He looked to the left and over to the right, but he couldn't find a place to spend his money that night. Lord, 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 he sure wanna spend some money tonight. Now he ran to the hotel, dollar in hand, but they wouldn't take $1 from no colored man. He said, it's getting mighty late, mister, where can I go? He said, well, play me a tune, I'll let you sleep on the floor. Lord, 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 Josh White asleep on the floor. High up on a mountain sat the Lord and the natural man. Oh, Josh White got the gift of song, but he never saw the promised land. He never saw the promised land. Now way up yonder where the angels are found, all the blood from his fingers stained the heavenly ground. There ain't nothing to do but to do what you do, and you do it till they roll a stone over you. Lord, 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 don't let them roll a stone over you. High up on a mountain sat the Lord and the natural man. Oh, Josh White got the gift of song, but he never saw the promised land. High up on the mountain, I heard a cold black angel sing. And I bet a plug nickel if he came back tomorrow, it wouldn't change a goddamn thing. I bet it wouldn't change a goddamn thing. Oh, for Josh White.
Jack, that was fantastic, man. So, will you hang around and do another tune if we go around one more time, Jack?
Yeah, man.
Well, I want to just, before we go on to the next guest here, I want to, you know that Josh White Jr. lives in Michigan, right?
Yes. Yeah,
Right.
I know Josh White Jr.
Yeah, I know him too. He was very kind to me when I had surgery. He called me every day to see I was doing all right. He's a very gentle and lovely man. Have you ever heard the recording of him when he's 5 years old singing One Meatball with his father?
With his dad, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, when I first played that song for Donnie, for Josh Jr.,
Yeah.
first time I ever played it for him, I came to that spot where there's a double expletive at the end.
Yeah.
And he burst out laughing. He said, man, that's my dad's favorite cuss word.
So Jack will be back to do another tune in a minute. But his information is in the chat room, where his website. He does some online concerts. So I'm gonna introduce this next fellow, but it's gonna take me just a minute. So because I have this is the most interesting story, I think. So my name is Don White. It's a common name, right? It's like John Smith, kind of. And if you Google my name, which of course I have done, there's a whole mess of Don Whites out there. Not too many of them am I interested in, really. And there's, Josh White Jr.'s name is Don White. I guess he would be the exception. But most of them I'm not interested in meeting. But a while back, a few years ago, I started getting checks from Sound Exchange for like internet airplay, and they would have 5 or 6 of my songs on there, and then there would be 3 or 4 songs from this other Don White from Oklahoma. And the songs were really good. And it turned out that they were on this album that Eric Clapton had made to tribute to J.J. Cale. So I'm like, so I started like getting in contact with Oklahoma Don White, because I owed him money. I had, the checks were in my name, so I sent him the money, and I got to talk to him a little bit. And it turns out that here, this right here, can you see this? This is one of my favorite albums that ever was made in the world. This is a J.J. Cale album. I believe it's his first album. And I played this thing until the needle ran through it. And when I was learning about Don White from Tulsa, Oklahoma, I mean, he's got credentials. Reba McEntire's recorded his songs, and the Oak Ridge Boys, and he's got 3 songs on this album that's tribute to J.J. Cale with Eric Clapton and Tom Petty and all that. But the fact that I learned that he was friends with J.J. Cale put him in the stratosphere with me, because I love that music so much. And so I got to I got to know him a little bit, and it turns out he's not just a talented songwriter and a real representative of the Tulsa sound, but a real nice guy, and got a good sense of humor, and somebody that I'm glad I know. And the only reason that I know him is because we have the same common name. So tonight, in the weirdest thing that's happened to me in years, I, Don White, am going to introduce you to Don White. Please make him feel welcome. Hey, Don.
Hi.
So, Don, you're coming to us from Tulsa, or just outside of Tulsa?
Yeah, I live in Tulsa, but we have a house up here at Grand Lake, which is about 65 miles northeast of Tulsa, and I'm at Grand Lake now.
So,
That's why we're just doing this by computer.
Well, you look and sound pretty good, and I'm really grateful to you for doing this. I really want folks to hear your music and to know who you are. So if you'll play a song for us, then if you don't mind hanging around, we'll come around again and we'll talk a little bit. Is that okay with you?
Great.
All right, let's hear one.
This is a song that's on my Patchwork record, which is out now, and you can catch it on Amazon, I think, and my website, which is donwhiteok.com. And this is a song written by my friend Jerry Allison. Jerry Allison, we call him J.I., was Buddy Holly's best friend and a drummer in the Crickets.
Really?
And I've known him a long time. A quick little story here. There's 2 people I've met in my life that we already knew each other. And we had so many mutual friends that I'd heard so many J.I. stories, and J.I. had heard so many Don White stories, that when we finally met, we already knew each other. And another friend of mine now is another guy that's the same way. It's Don Nix. He wrote that song, Going Down, 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 anyway. So this was written by J.I. He sent it to me. I liked it. I started doing it on my shows. And when people would buy my CDs, they'd say, hey, that song's not on the CD. So I promised I'd do it. This is a little tune called I Didn't Want a Boogie. It's a tender story. I didn't want a boogie till the band was packing up to go home. I didn't want a woman till somebody said they're all gone. I didn't get thirsty till the bartender said it's last call. So I headed for the men's room to write something dirty on the wall. The waitress was a winner. I thought that maybe things were looking up. So I ordered up some coffee. I told her she could help me change my luck. She said, meet her there at closing time. The place is open all night long. All I had to do is sit and wait for something else to go on. And I didn't want to boogie till the band was packing up to go home. I didn't want a woman till somebody said they're all gone. I didn't get thirsty till the bartender said it's last call. So I headed for the men's room to write something dirty on the wall. Well, I meant to make $1 million by the time I was 30 years old. I came up a little short because of drugs and sex and rock and roll. I always had it figured that I would end up doing something great. But when I realize what's going on, it's always just a little bit late. And I didn't want to boogie till the band was packing up to go home. I didn't want a woman till somebody said they're all gone. I didn't get thirsty till the bartender said it's last call. So I headed for the men's room to write something dirty on the wall. Oh, I headed for the men's room to write something dirty on the wall. I told you it was in the story.
And that song was written by a guy in the Crickets, Buddy Holly's band?
Yeah, Jerry Allison, he's the drummer.
Wow, that's
he,
awesome.
He co-wrote a lot of them songs, That'll Be the Day and Not Fade Away, some of those songs.
And he's pal, and you guys are pals, huh? That's really something. So Don, will you hang around if we go around one more time and play another song?
Sure.
All right, good. Well, let's hear it again for Don White from Oklahoma. All right. So I really appreciate that, and let's see if we can get Nick to play us another tune here. Nick, where are you, buddy?
Right here.
Square number 14. There you are. I see you.
Yes, just above Charles Nelson Riley. Just next to Brett Summers. You can tell we've been watching. There's a channel called Buzzer that shows all the old game shows, and you can tell we've been watching that incessantly. Who knew that they put Match Game and Hollywood Squares together in 1 hour? I didn't until last week. All right, this is a song off of that last album I mentioned before. It's up on Bandcamp. The album's called Habitual Salvation. This is called Pour Me a River. Come along if just for the ride, and I'll stay with you all night. Leave these gods and goddesses and the worn out shores. We got nothing but ourselves to live for. And if we drown, so be it. I'm not afraid of what comes next. So pour me a river, I'll drink it all. I'll never miss a drop of you. Pour me a river, I'll swim it all till I've got the last of you. We live among the righteous proclaimers, the sin namers and the autocrats. They come with their hooks and I brush them off our backs. I need you to know, I need you to trust that we are ocean enough to dissolve the dust. So pour me a river, I'll drink it all and never miss a drop of you. Pour me a river, I'll swim it all till I've got the last of you. Come along if just for the ride. Let me convince you it'll be alright. Man makes a tablet of stone, but we make our love our own. And if we drown, so be it. I'm not afraid of what comes next. So pour me a river, I'll drink it all and never miss a drop of you. Pour me a river, I'll swim it all till I got the last of you. Pour me a river, I'll drink it all and never miss a drop of you. Pour me a river, I'll swim it all till I've got the last you.
Nice.
All right, Nick, that was great.
Thank you.
Oh, that was beautiful.
Thanks.
Nick, I really love what you're doing, man. I really do. The songs are great. I'm so glad that you were here tonight. So your information, people can get your CD and find out where you're playing by going to your website.
Yep. Or the Bandcamp or the website.
Yep. And so that's all on the page there. So let's talk for a minute. So, what are you doing these days? You working on a new record? You writing? You got a story coming out or what?
Working on a bunch of stuff. I've got an EP that's coming out in a couple of months. That's sort of the it's part and parcel of the album I released in November. Because I went into the studio. I was lucky enough to get about 8 hours of studio time, and I recorded 15 songs in that time and released 10 for the last album. And there are 4 that kind of fit together that told a sort of noir story. So I separated them into an EP that's going to come out sometime this fall. I haven't figured out the exact date just yet.
Are you still doing your podcast?
That's on hiatus. I've got a couple of other podcast ideas that I'm trying to figure out, and I'll return to the Department of Tangents at some point, a bit more casually. It turns out when you don't focus something, your audience doesn't focus on you as much either. So that's the problem with Department of Tangents.
All right. Well, listen, you're a good friend to me and to everybody. I'm so glad that you were here tonight, and I hope people go and check out your Bandcamp and all that stuff. Let's hear it again for Nick Zano.
Thank you, Nick.
All right, so let's high spotlight Jack Williams for a minute here. So Jack, let's talk a little bit. There's nobody listening. It's just me and you.
Okay.
I think from talking to you and reading about you, I know that you started out doing rock and roll, being a guitar player. Is that right? Yeah. And a trumpet player, is that right too? Or
Well, I didn't start out playing rock and roll because I was born way before rock and roll came around.
you gotta wait for it.
But I played the ukulele and the trumpet. I became a jazz player before I was a rocker. In 1958, I played my first rock gig, and then it's been kind of a mixed bag. A lot of my music really stems from the fact that I've played all these different kinds of music. Played a lute in a Renaissance ensemble, played in folk groups in the 60s. A lot of rock and roll. You know, it's a wonderful life.
Well, you know, before you started performing out, who would you say were early influences for you?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. First thing is I never listened to guitar players. Influences, to be honest, Brahms.
Yeah, he's influenced.
I know
a few
that's not the
over
kind of
here.
thing you expect to hear, but Brahms was a big influence. Oscar Peterson.
Yeah.
The two polar opposites, Louis Armstrong, Miles Davis.
Yeah.
When it came to when rock and roll came around, I was more influenced by bands than individuals.
Yeah.
Procol Harum and the band.
Yeah.
The band was the greatest rock group I ever heard. I love the Beatles, it's true, but that was that cut and dry 2-minute song hit stuff. But Procol Harum was writing. You know, there was a lot of Bach in that, and I had a lot of classical background. And so I didn't have a single influence, not on the guitar. I wasn't a guitar music fan.
Well, that's an excellent answer to that question. So Brahms, you know, so when we're listening to you play, there's a little bit of everything in there, isn't there? Yeah, yeah.
There is all of that music that I mentioned and a lot of others has at its core something that makes it what it is. And I picked up on all of that and tried my best. When I play my songs, I hear those things in there. I mean, I don't hear Brahms, but I know how a bass line moved or how a chord that nobody else knows sounds. That's C. It's just plain C. But that's as Brahmsian as you can get. And a lot of jazz stuff ends up in my music. Can't avoid it. It's just in my nature. And rock and roll is always there.
Well, I'm delighted that you're here, and I'm so grateful to you for sharing your time and your art and your music with us. I think you're excellent. I think you're really a treasure in this community. So thank you and I hope everyone will go to your website and buy your music and buy it directly from you, not go to any third parties, and then check out where you're playing. You're doing a pretty regular online program, Jack?
Quite a few. This weekend, I'm playing them somewhat locally. I'm promoting them in the cities of the venues that are hosting my concerts. In other words, I'll be in Seattle and Port Townsend, Washington coming up around the end of the week, and then Asheville, North Carolina. And but anybody can attend the concerts, but we're focusing mainly on the local audiences. And so anybody wants to go to my Facebook page, which is Jack Williams Music 1. I don't have a music page, just a personal page, and I always mention where I'm going to be playing, and so I'm doing a lot of it. I'm enjoying Zoom, and I learned about Zoom from you, from your wonderful Monday sessions where I found out that I could have an audience in front of me that I could see and hear.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
You're welcome, Jack, and I'm grateful to you for all that you've done and all that you're doing. Will you play another tune for us, my friend?
Sure, man. Well, I celebrated a hero from South Carolina. I'm going to celebrate one from Georgia. This one was my favorite Southern American poet who passed away some years ago. And the day that I heard he passed away, I wrote this song down on the 70 napkins in a home-cooked food place in Columbia, South Carolina, and presented the song to this man's son. The poet's name was James Dickey, delightfully, maddeningly, politically incorrect gentleman, who also, for most of you who are not familiar with his poetry, even though he was the de facto first ever poet laureate of the United States, James Dickey wrote Deliverance, the movie, and the book, and actually performed somewhat badly in it. But I met James Dickey in South Carolina, and he's fond of guitars, fond of guitar players, and I wrote this song about him. And when I talked to his son, and I'm playing it partly because his son just passed away last week. Chris Dickey was a wonderful journalist, embedded down in the Sandinista era, and he just passed away. And I played this song for him, and he told me, he said, "Man, you nailed my old man." And I think a songwriter would rather hear nothing more than that. So this is for James Dickey. Seaboard rail line, Charleston bound, sashays skyward, one last round. Herons and bitterns with their heads hung down. The old bug dancer's gone. The fiddler squeals in the cotton gin, strikes a match and invites us in. Guitars and banjos and mandolins play the old bug dancer's song. Sweet Joe Cassie, make my bed. My dreams are loose and the moon is red. With all this music left unsaid, the old bug dancer's gone. There is no star for me to climb, to scan the sky for just one last rhyme. I'll borrow one from him this time. The old bug dancer's gone. Now the Santee's burning at the source. It veers unfettered from its course like some alligator tidal force. The old bug dancer's gone. Sweet Joe Cassie, make my bed. My dreams are loose and the moon is red. With worlds of music left unsaid, the old bug dancer's gone. The dancer witnessed blood and fire. He saw with the seers and he lied to the liars, and he bled for every heart's desire. The old bug dancer's gone. Oh, now give me one last spin around with every pretty girl in town, and bury me in a live oak crown, and dance all over my grave. Sweet Joe Cassie, make my bed. My dreams are loose and the moon is red. With so much music left unsaid, the old bug dancer's gone. The old bug dancer's gone.
Woo.
Woo! All right, Jack. Thank you, Jack.
Thank you very much.
Awesome.
And thank you, Don.
Oh, you're welcome, Jack.
Both Dons.
Both Don White.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was great, Jack. Jack, you know, anytime you want to promote something that you're doing, just pop in on a Thursday. Even if I'm filled up, I'll just drag you out of the crowd, and you can let people know what you're doing. I'm serious. You know,
I appreciate that very much.
yeah, you know, we all need to help each other. You know, there's a lot of people have a lot of options on the internet. You know what I mean? It's, if you can get in front of an audience that that's interested in what you're doing, you know, just pop by and we'll make sure they know where you're playing and what you're doing. Okay, buddy?
Sure. Thank you so
All
much.
right. And thanks to Judy for helping you out with all your tech. I know she's the boss, really. I know that. So let's hear it again for Jack Williams, and the treasure.
There you go.
All right. So now let's have Don White talk to Don White for a while. Now, so Don, so
Hey,
the
man.
the album that's a tribute to J.J. Cale is called The Breeze. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, the breeze, like the song.
Yeah.
Call me the breeze. Yeah.
And you
Cale
and your
Cale passed away in 2013, was it? I don't know, about 6, 7 years ago. And I was a pallbearer at his funeral at a beautiful mission in Oceanside, California, where he was born. I mean, where he was laid to rest. He was born in Oklahoma City, but he grew up in Tulsa. But Eric Clapton used to hang around Tulsa in the 70s, but I never met him then. I don't know, I was just starting out and I'm not sure. But I walked up and introduced myself at this
What
John
is
Cale
going on?
services. And we were talking after the service about this and that. And Eric said, I wanted John to help me with my next record, but I can't do that now. And I said, well, Walt Richmond, he's real good. He works with you. He said, oh, Walt will be on the next record. And he looked at me and he said, and you should be too. And I said, one of the smartest things I've ever said in my life. Well, how do you know me good? Have you ever heard me play? He looked at me like I was nuts. And I was. But a couple weeks later, he called me up and asked me if I'd play on the record. And then he surprised me. We had backtracking a little. We had a musical tribute to Cale in Santa Monica that night. And they said, we talked about Cale for about an hour, and then everybody told stories, and we laughed and cried and did all that. But then it was at Gabe's Guitar House in Santa Monica, and Gabe got up there and said, well, anybody want to play? The bandstand's open. So Rick looked at me and said, let's go play. I said, okay. So we got up and played a couple with Eric and Jim Keltner, and then I stayed up and kind of ran the bandstand for about 15 minutes. And so he got to hear me play for sure. And about 2 weeks later, he called me up and asked me if I'd like to be in the band. He didn't say come play on my record. He said, I'm going to make this record. I thought maybe you'd like to be in the band. And, I like this guy, the way he talks. Anyway, I did, and I sang 3 songs on it and played guitar on 3 tracks. So that's a real good guitar. It's a good record if you like guitars too.
Yeah. So J.J. Cale was the guitar player in your original band. Did I read that? Did you tell me that?
Yeah.
You guys were bandmates, right?
Yeah, we were already friends, and I grew up around Leon Russell and J.J. Cale. David Gates was I didn't really know him. I came along a little later. He's the one lead singer in Bread, that band Bread, but from the '70s.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, I was just left my job at the oil company. I worked for an oil company for about 3 years when I got out of college. And K.O. was coming through town and he said, "Hey, White, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm getting ready to start my own band. Never had my own band before. I want to start my own band." He said, "Oh, you are? What kind of band you gonna have?" I said, "Well, I'm gonna sing country music, but we're gonna play guitars like us." And he said, "Well, that sounds like fun." He said, "I'd like to play in a band like that." I said, "Okay." I believe that'll be fine.
He didn't have to audition. You didn't have to.
No, he was friends, so I let him play.
For those of you, let me just interject for a second, Don. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm not sure if everyone here is as crazy about J.J. Cale as I am, but you should learn about his music. Like I love his music so much. It's like the songs are so good, but they never push their way into your head. They just kind of slip in there. They're all understated and perfectly, beautifully crafted, and I would recommend very highly learning about the work of J.J. Cale. It's just it's got sort of that Tulsa sound, and it's really something. So
yeah, he's all over the internet. He's got him and Leon used to video every show they did.
yeah.
So he's all over you look up J.J. Cale. You can get on Eric Clapton's site and get to J.J. Cale. But,
Right. Well,
J.J.'s got his own radio, J.J. Cale radio. And all kinds
it's
he's
good
easy,
stuff.
he's easy to look up.
I recommend it highly. So, Don, I'm so glad to get to know you, and it's not just because I like your name either. I think I like your music a lot, and you got a nice way about you. And I'm glad that my friends that come to my Thursday thing are getting to know about you, and I hope they'll look you up on your website and take a look at some of that music. Would you play another song for us, please?
Yeah, I hate to play a finger picking song after Jack, but I'm going to attempt it. I'm going to buy some of his records too because he's tremendous. This is a song I wrote that's on my Patchwork album that's out now. I hear I'm getting a little bit of play up in the Northeast, but it's kind of Americana. I don't know. Music is music to me, but this song I wrote goes like this. I wrote a song. Sorry. I heard a song. Well, let's start all over like this. I heard Eric Clapton start over on a live record, so I know it's okay. Dreamed that God wrote a song. I had a dream God wrote a song, and it I did this before one time on this song, because it sounds like another song. A dream God wrote a song. I had a dream God wrote a song, and I could hear the whole world sing along. But that can't be wrong. Told about love and peace, and how good this old world can be when you are free. You took this broken heart of mine and made it whole, and you blessed my soul. And I woke up and saw your face, and knew the Lord had put me in the perfect place, so full of grace. Gave me blood, taught me peace, and to do at least one good thing every day in a righteous way. You took this broken heart of mine and made it whole, and you bless my soul. Jesus loves me, so do you. He told me so, so I know it's true, and I'm such a lucky guy. You know who I love the most, the Father and the Son and the Holy Ghost in you, and my love is true. You took this broken heart of mine and my soul. And you bless my soul. Oh, bless my soul.
Yeah.
Woo! Oh, Don, thank you so much. Oh, that was beautiful.
Sorry, my ADD kicked in right at the first of that song.
Oh,
You got Sarah all weepy and square
know.
number 5 over there.
no, I'm
you
all
break-
crying.
You're breaking hearts all over the place, Dawn White.
Beautiful, beautiful.
So Dawn, so I'm determined to get to Oklahoma, and me and you will go visit the Guthrie Center. That's in Tulsa, right?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Right there by the Bob Dylan Museum. Bob sent some stuff down, and they opened a place, and we'll do a double D gig down there.
That's right. Dawn White and Dawn White play the Guthrie Center.
That's right. I told Don the other day, I said, we need to do a show together. And when they introduce us, they say, now here's Don White, and we could come out on stage pushing on each other. Anyway,
You know,
you do the humor all.
you know, you brought some just beautiful energy to our event today, and I'm so glad to get to know you a little bit. I'm glad that the people who come to this Thursday thing know about your music and stuff, and I hope that they research it a little bit, and I'll be in touch with you anytime I get another check from Sound Exchange. It'll have a bunch of Eric Clapton-y things on it, a couple of mine on it too.
Okay, that'd be fine. And thank you for showing us about Zoom and teaching Debbie how to do it, and maybe she can teach me.
Well, you know, don't be shy about asking for help on this. You should be out there playing. There's a lot of people love you out there and in your community, and this is not that hard to get from where you are now to be able to do it. So let's hear it again for Dawn White from Oklahoma.
All right, Dawn, thank you. Oh, woo!
All right, so I made my executive decision here. So I'm wondering, I'm going to put you on the spot, Damien. You can say no to this if you want, but how do you feel about doing a short poem for us?
I'll do a poem. I don't know if I have any short poems, but
all right, go ahead. This is Damien. He's one of my children, really. You know, I don't believe that you ever read in public before. Speak up. Am I right about that?
I went to one poetry reading beforehand, and yeah, it was good. It was at this place called in Salem.
Yeah.
What was it called? It was a little bookstore for like a few months or something.
Right.
Feed Your Head Books.
But after
And,
Speak Up, we unleashed you, right? You couldn't.
and then I came across you guys. I think Brian told me about it.
Yeah.
And I was going to North Shore Community College at the time, and it really just blew my mind open. I remember you talking about someone shaking their hands were shaking when they were reading. That was me. I mean, that happened.
Well, you went from that to being invincible. For a couple of years there, you couldn't walk down the street without seeing Damien doing poetry somewhere. And I'm really proud of you, not just for that, but how you've managed to become a good, solid, adult. I guess you were a kid then, really. So if you've got something you'd share with us here, I would love to hear it. And then I'll do a song, and that'll kill it for tonight, I think.
I'll do the last thing that I memorized. I wrote this about 5 years ago.
Okay.
Woo! All right.
Thank you. Always I give up before starting, the object of my love departing, cycling in reunion to begin anew. Serendian vignettes of soft cloud breath and light-drenched arteries fade to bruised viscera, black with highlights of blue. Fear bruises all things holy. Lines written, words spoken, the love of another, transformation from unknown caverns of consciousness, and any fruit bared from any pain accepted. Faith is the most opposing element to fear, yet they start in the same place, moment, and letter, but their paths lead to different worlds altogether, for fear ends in rage and faith in heaven. Like you, my scared little fairy, I've hidden snugly under a large wing for protection. The heavy and rotting fleshy wing of lust, and I've lifted its damp sheets from my mangled bed, bare but refreshed, clean and lonesome. Proud with less ego, I've built ornate cathedrals off of my yearning, worshipping the power of will. I've sculpted gargoyles of disinterest and seductive curves with pale gestures, as the night brims with temptation to abandon all hope, to surrender to desire, to make that call to masochism of the spirit, to burn every cathedral ever built and spit upon its ashes my spit unborn children, shining like smoke in the eyes of madness, to white out this script written in black, bloody ink, upon my muscle, memories forgotten, washed away by the sweet sweat of uncertainty.
Yeah, there you go.
Woo! All right. Thank you, Damien. Wow.
So I liked what Dawn had said a little while ago about how it's all music to him, that the categories don't mean anything. And I feel that way about all forms of expression. Poetry, storytelling, songwriting, prose, it's all to me the same thing. I don't understand why they're separated the way that they are. I feel like I loved Utah Phillips. Jack, did you ever get to see Utah Phillips when he was doing his thing?
Yes, I did.
Well, something I really loved about him, Tim Mason, I saw him a few times, that he would, in the course of his show, he would be a storyteller, a poet, a liar, a songwriter. It would all seamlessly go from one to the other. And that's the way I feel. That's why I like this format here, where you can pull in a poet, you can pull in a storyteller, you can have a songwriter, you can have somebody who's just going to play an instrumental. And all expression is valid, and they should all be able to live together, in my humble opinion. So thank you all for coming tonight. Let's have a nice round of applause for everybody who performed tonight. Jack Williams, Nick Zano, and Dawn White, and Dawn White. I'm going to play this song. I've been thinking about my mom and dad a lot. This is a song that I sang at both of their funerals. It's called Sense of Humor, and I wish you all health and community. And we will simulate it here as best we can. But I can't wait to be in a room with you all someday and to just put my hands on you and hug you. All right, so here we go. Sarah, good to see you, girl. All his children knew that he was dying when he asked them all to gather at his side. He spoke to them about the joyousness of a living, from the perspective of someone about to die. My love for you is what I leave behind me. I see my love in everything you are. When I am gone and you want to find me, believe me, you won't need to look too far. I will be your sense of humor. I'll be your integrity. Each time you find the strength to persevere, right inside that strength is where I'll be. When you touch a person's heart with kindness, that heart opens up here and where you will stay. As your heart grows, I know that you will find this is the way that you can live beyond your days. So take some time and contemplate the night sky, so vast beyond all you can comprehend. The magnitude of what is out around you can make your life seem small and insignificant. Then picture your heart if grown to its potential as being wider than all you can ever dream, deeper than the unfathomable heaven. That's the way that my heart feels today to me. And I will be your sense of humor. I'll be your integrity. Each time you find the strength to persevere, right inside that strength is where I'll be. There's really nothing more that I can say now. If you don't mind, I would like to be alone. I want to spend a short time now in prayer to thank God for all the love that I have known, and for all these hearts where my love has found a home. And I will be your sense of humor. I'll be your integrity. Each time you find the strength to persevere, right inside that strength is where I'll be. That's where you can always go to be with me.
Yeah.
Thank you, Don.
Thank you, Don.
You're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome. Listen, thank you all for coming. Thanks for supporting artists and live musicians. If you know somebody that's lonesome or alone or having trouble, give them a call. It's a small thing to do, but it means a lot. You might be the only person they talk to in the last 2 or 3 weeks. These are difficult times. Do what you can to be kind out there. Thanks again to Don White, Jack Williams, and Nick Zano, and to my friend Damien. There he is right there. The poet representing. Poets representing tonight. All right. We're here every Thursday. Usually we have a partner. I couldn't find one for this week, but next week we'll be partnering with the Flint Folk Music Society out of Flint, Michigan. The week after that, we're partnering with the Rose Garden Coffee House in Mansfield, Mass. And then in September, the first Thursday in September, I'm doing a show for the sober community, a festival called Sober in the Sun. We're going to try to raise some money for them because they had to cancel the festival. And I have been the closing act at that festival for 25 years. So there you go. So next bunch of Thursdays, we'd love to see you. Just check my website and you can know how to find it. So again, I say this every week. If I end this meeting because I started it, the screen will just go blank, and we will all be left with an abrupt and unsatisfying ending to this evening. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say to you all, you can just wave goodbye and click yourselves off in a gentle and one at a time way. Much love to all the little squares out there, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, Don.
Good
Thank you,
night,
Don.
Ian.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Bye now. Jason up in the Upper Peninsula. Good night, my friend. All right, Tim. See you later. Linda Roja, who's come to 9,000 of my concerts. There you are. You don't have to drive anywhere anymore, Lynn. Thank you. Tim Mason from New Mexico. Sarah, how's the new job, girl?
I survived.
Yeah, you're teaching, right?
Yeah, it's not new. It's just we're back. They're making us work from school instead of from home, even though we don't have kids. We're doing it online. And the whole system crashed 6 minutes after we started school.
Tell them you need Thursdays off. It's part of the deal.
I know.
Want me to negotiate for you? I'll be your union rep. I'll go down.
I would be happy. Negotiate so I can be home. I just want to do it from home. It's creepy to share a bathroom with 35 people. It's really creepy.
Yeah. You take care. Don't make me worry about you.
I'm like super safe. I'm being as safe as
All right. We can't do these shows without you. Sarah has taught everyone how to be a good Zoom fan member. She makes every artist feel like they're the greatest. So
I yell at the artist. Woo!
Woo, Sarah. Kate, I played 2 songs for you. Is that good? Okay. Okay, Kate Q over there, she went out and bought one of my records. So let's give her a round of applause for buying music. Woo! You hear that, young people? Old people buying music, even if they don't have something to play it on.
I bought one and gave one to my friend of mine. She's like, I don't have a CD player.
I know.
Oh
Just
my
use it.
God.
Do you have a wobbly table? You can straighten that out for you. You can put it right under that loose leg there.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
All right, so we're
Thank
just
you so much. I'm
You-
filled with gratitude. Thank you so much. This made my day to be able to hop on tonight. So thank
Oh,
you.
well, the Don White from Oklahoma, he got you with that tune, didn't he? I saw you. He put his he got right to your solar plexus on that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm grateful.
All right, the Hansons, everybody's okay over there in Newton, Nebraska. Don't let them
Thanks,
make you
Harvey.
work in a meat packing plant out there. They're all full of COVID. Be careful.
Oh, back in school, they're getting full of COVID too. So
You know, I was telling Don White that my last concert was in Kansas. My last place I traveled to was Nebraska, and I can't wait to get to Oklahoma. So I happen to just be really fond of all the rectangular states. That's my thing. Like if your state is rectangular, I